To this episode of Shift. I'm your host, Palmonia Gordon.
Who means our precious gift. Now, I'm sharing with you all the meaning of my name because I believe that our names have the power to shape our destiny.
Absolutely.
I'm here today standing before you all because of the power that my name carries. So I need you right this moment to look within yourself and ask yourself the big question: what is in my name? What does my name mean? Because I know for sure that your name is revealing something to you about who you are.
Yes, yes.
I do believe again that there's a seed of greatness in each and every one of us. We're all born carrying something special. There is nobody that can do what you can do.
Yes, yes.
You are Svetlana for a reason. You have that energy for a reason. And thank you for sharing that energy with each and every one of us. My journey started off in Zimbabwe. My mother passed away at the tender age of 14. As I was watching her lying in her coffin, my last words to her were, "Mama, ninetemba." It means, "Mama, I'm hopeful." I continued and said, "I will try by all means, and I'll strive to be a doctor."
Grateful for. But I also want to compliment Jacqueline for bringing this program to us, because we need to come together as community, as women, and as women who are pushing the barriers and doing great things. We want to make sure that we know where each other is, that we could be part of what we call a supportive network. And so I want to thank all of you for spending your Saturday and your Sunday to come together, because coming together is so important if we are going to move forward. The United Nations every so often throw challenges out to states and countries, and they have but they've more or less put out to the countries of the world that they should work towards gender parity. Kenny, gender parity by the year 2024. But we as women know the struggles and how far we are to get there for 2024. The very first time that the United Nations woke up to the issue of women was around 1970, 1972, 73. And there was a call put out to all the nations of the world to organize their women and to speak about the situation of women in their various and varying countries. And so women came together in Mexico City in 1975. For the very first time, women came from all of, right now I think we have about 194, 95 countries in the United Nations. Around those numbers then, various countries sent women as representatives to this World Conference. And for the very first time, women heard each other's voices. And there were certain things that came out of that conference. Women did 99% of the work. Women owned 1% of the property, and on and on and on. As women compared their situation, women in Africa, women in India, women in the Americas. At the end of the conference in 75, as the nations decided to come back and do something about the status of women, they all asked, "Give us 10 years. Give us 10 years and we'll go back to our states and our countries." And I say states because some of the island states. We'll go back to our various countries, and in 10 years we'll come back and report that we have done something about the status of women. So we came back in Canada and we started up status of women at provincial levels. We started discussions about women's issues, and we started moving along. Those of you who are from the Black community would know that we had Kay Livingstone, who was one of the organizers at the time, and we came back and started talking about the Congress of Black Women of Canada and how we can organize Black women. Signed up for the Canada Caribbean Domestic Scheme, which said that I would work in Canada for 1 year in the home of a Canadian family, and that I would get landed immigrant status, and that I can do whatever afterwards. And so my first struggle with the Canadian system was around, give me the forms, please, so I could apply for Teachers College. And this person in Queen's Park said, I gave a whole, in those days too, my grandmother used to say this, and I say this to I have center with young girls who come there, and I say to them, you know, every time we do something and they get a little certificate, I say, you keep that, that's part of your, right?
Yep,
So I had a whole pile, I had all the music certificates, I had all the and so I gave this, handed over to this woman, all the, my credentials, and she handed it back to me and she said, I think you have to go back to grade 13. In 1960 was grade 13, right? And I said, no. I said, grade 13 is the end of high school, and I have entrance to university. There were 3 or 4 different admissions to different universities here in Canada. I'd be writing, you know, but then they would ask for, where is the money for your tuition and your accommodation and your whatever, and I didn't have that. So, but I had all the admission, and I'm showing her this, and she would not give me the 3 or 4 pages I needed to fill to go to Teachers College. In those days, to teach, you had to go to Toronto Teachers College. And then also there was a window. It's a window, and you pass the thing through the window. And then she passed it back to me. And she called the person behind me. And I thought, what do I do now? So I just kind of moved to the side, and I stood there. And she called the next person, and I stood there. What they would call it in the US, I stood my ground. I stood there. So after a while, I'm not too sure whether she had a buzzer, she may have had, but a supervisory person came out. What is happening here? And she said, this lady needs to, or this girl needs to go to grade 13. And I'm telling her this, and she seemed not to understand. So I said, would you, and I passed back the little package. And she said to me, she looked at it, and she said, oh no, she has admission here to, she has more than she needs for Teachers College. She gave me the form. I should have done what kids do. Yeah. But I didn't. I took the forms and I walked away and filled it and went to Teachers College.
Woo!
19.
Thank you for stopping by this episode of Shift. Subscribe, leave a comment, like, share the information, but most of all, like the second hand on the clock, take 60 tiny moves that you can come back tomorrow. I love you. God bless you. Have a good day.